Hi, this is Dave Gardner with Keller Williams Realty, and I'm here today with Stuart Mills, the fire chief of the Larkspur Fire Protection District. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Dave. How are you?
Excellent.
Good.
Well, tell us a little bit today about the Larkspur Fire Protection District.
Well, prior to the 1960s, there was no fire protection in this area, per se. And in 1963, there was a large wildland fire near Toma Road, and it was a pretty good blaze, and it took a while for the residents of the district to get it under control. The state stepped in, and finally it was under control. But after that, the residents of the district figured, hey, we need to do something to improve our situation here. We're going to be growing in the future, and we need a fire department. So in 1963, They formed the Larkspur Fire Department. And they didn't have any funding other than what was donated. So if they needed new equipment, it had to be donated.
Was it other fire departments that donated, or who donated?
Primarily the residents of the district.
Oh, okay.
They were self-sufficient. They may have applied for grants back then. I really couldn't tell you if they did or not, but the funding primarily came from the residents of the area.
Right. What was that original equipment like?
Well, the first thing we had back then was basically a fire cart. It was a red canister that was charged with CO2, had fire extinguishing powder in it, and that was the only piece of firefighting apparatus that they had at the time.
Right. And that probably couldn't go that far.
It couldn't. It could be pulled by a truck if they tied it onto the truck appropriately, but it was primarily built to be transported by hand. It has big wheels on it that it rolls. And if you ever want to take a look at it, it's right out here in front of our station. And we have a second one that is in front of our old station that we sold years ago, but that one remained there just for prosperity's sake.
Right. Now, when did the Fire Protection District get its first vehicle?
Well, in the mid-1960s, an old fire truck, it was basically a brush truck, was donated to the fire department from a agency in northern Colorado, and it was an old military 4x4. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. When it worked, it was great if there was a fire, but if it didn't work, the members of the fire department did whatever they could do.
Right. Now, I remember you said that you had started as a fire department and then later on became a fire protection district. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, running a fire department based solely on donations is not sustainable. And the area was growing, and the members of the fire department got together and said, hey, we need to do something better. So around 1972, they started talking about forming a fire district. There's a lot of work involved with that.
That's about when Perry Park was taken off and really getting started.
It is. So they were able to apply to become a fire protection district, and they were voted in by the residents of the district. So the Larkspur Fire Department in 1974 became obsolete. It no longer existed, and it became the Larkspur Fire Protection District. And being a district,
property taxes can help fund the fire district at that time.
When the Larkspur Fire Department became defunct and became a fire protection district, they were a tax-based organization, so they had a steady flow of funding to support their operations.
Right. How many firefighters do you have with the fire protection district?
We have a total of 44. We have 15 shift people who are full-time, and we have 7 part-timers. They actually work half-time. So we're able to have 6 people on a shift, guaranteed, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And we have an additional 24 volunteers. Now, volunteers are volunteers. They're held to the same standards as far as their emergency medical certifications and their firefighting certifications, but they do have jobs that they have to go to pay the bills.
Right.
So they're not here all the time, but they are required to do 24 hours of shift time a month.
Excellent. Now, you have a fire protection house there in the Perry Park subdivision. Is that manned 24/7 as well?
It is. We have one firefighter EMT out there and one firefighter paramedic.
Right. Now you handle the whole Larkspur area, or a large amount of it. Tell us about the area that you kind of protect.
Well, we cover 109 square miles
Wow.
in southwestern Douglas County, which is a fairly large area.
It is.
We have several larger subdivisions, and we have a lot of areas that are non-hydranted. Most of our subdivisions are hydranted, and they have an ISO rating of 3. Some of our outlying areas, we have to take water to fight a fire if there is a fire. So they will naturally have a little bit higher ISO rating.
Right. I've seen a small firehouse off of Furrow Road down south. Is that your fire protection equipment as well?
It is, it is.
Excellent, excellent.
And
That's
that's
probably not manned 24/7.
It is not. That's purely a volunteer station.
Excellent, excellent. Well, let's see. I know that I've seen people from the Larkspur Fire Protection District up in the Upper Cheyenne area of Perry Park, trimming trees and that type of thing, creating fire breaks and just fire mitigating. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that was a fire mitigation crew that we had, and we were able to bring that fire mitigation crew on because we applied for a federal grant. It was approved, and the state actually managed the money from that grant, and they allotted us money to hire people to be on the mitigation crew. And what that mitigation crew was doing up there was working on a wildfire mitigation project.
Excellent. So basically, protecting the subdivision.
Absolutely, yes.
Excellent. Well, is there anything that is coming up with the Larkspur Fire Protection District that might be a public event where people could come down and see the equipment in the building and that type of thing here?
Absolutely. Every year we have an open house, and our open house is the first Saturday in October. I don't recall what date that is for this year, but it is the first Saturday in October. The open house normally runs from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And we also, on that same day, we have a chili cook-off.
Ah,
So
okay.
anyone who's hungry and wants to come look at fire trucks and meet your firefighters, please come on down the first Saturday in October.
Right. Now, is there something happening in May as well?
Yes, we have a wildfire mitigation seminar. It's an annual seminar that our Fire Marshal Randy Johnson coordinates every year. And we usually have a very good turnout. There's a lot of really good information disseminated on how to better protect your home, mitigate your property. So I would recommend that if you want to attend that, keep an eye on our webpage. That's www.larkspurfire.org, and we will be having that all the information that you're going to need to attend that particular seminar up soon.
Right. What got you started in becoming a fireman and then a fire chief?
Well, I was in the Navy for 11 years.
Ah,
I was on surface warfare ships, so everyone on a ship is a firefighter. So when I got out, it was just a natural progression. I had decided that that's what I wanted to do, is become a fire chief, or become a firefighter. I never really had the ambition to become a fire chief, but the position came open here, and I've been here for quite a few years, and I have a lot vested in this district, and I put my name in the hat, and I was selected.
excellent.
And it's a challenging job. It definitely is. But,
I can imagine.
I've been the fire chief for 5 years now, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
That's great. What's the best way for somebody to contact the Fire Protection District? And is there a message that you'd like to get out to the general public?
Well, it depends on what you're needing to contact the fire district for. If you're having an emergency, if you believe that there's smoke in your house, or your house is on fire, or you have a medical emergency, call 911. Absolutely, you'll get a much quicker response, because we're not always here. We may be out doing training, we may be on another call.
Right.
So the best way in an emergency is call 911. If you have questions about wildland mitigation, If you want to reserve one of our meeting rooms, obviously, call directly here. And our number is 303-681-3284.
Excellent. Well, Stuart, it's been a pleasure talking with you today. Really enjoyed
Good
it.
talking with you too, Dave.
Absolutely. And if you have emergency, remember, call 911. This has been Dave Gardner with Keller Williams Realty. And if you would like to have your business interviewed, click on the link below or call 303-681-1000. This is www.larkspurcolorado.com. Thanks.